hopefully we'll be a bit relaxed and get into the groove of everything as the show goes on. So yes, my name's Subane Abdi, and I live in Leicester, in Evington really. And yeah, today's discussion will be trying to be a bit unorthodox, talking a lot about identity and talking about a specific problem that Zak has sort of flagged while we've been talking and preparing for this show. So Zak, what are we going to be doing today?
So the concept of the show is going to be about talking about things that concern the Muslim population in Leicester specifically. The identity is back home mentality that a lot of us have, and for us to examine it and try to constructively think about it or discuss it. In future episodes, we might bring other people who have opposing opinions to express their positions and hopefully create a discussion. So today we'll be mostly focusing on this back home mentality that we've experienced, me and Subane have experienced. So I've got a few questions for you, Subane, if you're ready for it.
Sorry, what do you mean by go home mentality?
Go home mentality is people that live in this country who are, let's say, from a ethnic background, and they may class a different country as their country of origin. For example, I'm Somali, and I would class my country of origin to be Somalia. I'm not sure about you, but that's what I mean by back home mentality.
Oh, so for me, like I've been really talking about this topic a lot with Zak recently, and this go home mentality has been something that I actually didn't know really existed as much until Zak brought it up, and has been something that really exists, especially in like ethnic minority communities, be they with our group of Somalians, as we've had discussions with many Somalians recently about this particular topic. But even beyond that, in the Indian population, the Pakistani population, and so on, and especially in Leicester, as Zak could attest, according to the people he's spoken to, this go-home mentality of only coming to the UK somewhat to prosper initially, and then go back to their country of origin or their ancestral homes, in essence, to live out the rest of their lives there, as opposed to Britain, where they should have initially put up their roots. What do you think of that, Zak?
So I definitely understand it. Let's just say you have parents that came here as immigrants, and they've always told you that this is going to be a place where they'll be staying temporarily. But they told you to prosper here, study here, educate yourself. But at the end of the day, that country, let's say whether it's Malawi, Uganda, Somalia, Pakistan, India, wherever else, is your country of origin. You need to be investing there. Your end goal is going to be there. And as these are your parents and they have a lot of influence over you, someone that grew up in this country will be subject to that influence in some way, and I understand that. But thinking about it from a practical sense, a lot of us may believe or want to go back to our country, but a lot of us are going to stay here. For example, look at Somalis, for example. We lived here for 25 or 30 years now. A lot of us who grew up here, even some of us were born here, we studied here, we went to university here, a lot of us work here, a lot of us got married here, we have kids here. And the reality, if we observe that, means that this is going to be your country of your kids, country of your grandkids. So really, this is your country now. And what do you think, Subane?
That's a very interesting way you're putting it, but I think we would have a better or clearer image if you could give us a bit of context. Is this something you yourself have been through?
Yeah, 100%.
This going home mentality.
Yeah, 100%. For example, my parents always told me that they came from Somalia. They spoke about the interesting times and the fun times they had in Mogadishu before the Civil War. And my dad currently lives in Somalia. My sister moved back there recently as well. And I went there in 2014 and to see for myself and how it's all about. And even though when I went down there, I felt that this is interesting. This is my people. I feel at home here. But I did notice that a lot of people were looking at me, and when they spoke to me, they knew I wasn't from there. When I say, or even saw me as a foreigner, not because of the way I looked, it's because the way I acted, the way I spoke.
So even though you were Somali and you were like in your home country, amongst your native people, in essence, you still felt like an outsider.
I felt like an outsider. Yeah. I felt that even though this is where my forefathers are from, I still felt like an outsider. Not because of the land, but because of people in that land.
Oh.
So
like this cultural dissonance.
Because the land doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
People make a nation, a country, a community, and even though when I came back here from that, because I was there for only 3 months, I felt more home here because this is where I grew up, this is where I studied, I speak the language, and my personality, my from was cultivated here. What about you, Subane?
It's a very interesting thing, this going home mentality. For me personally, I've traveled extensively in my life, and just even recently, I think in the past year, I returned back to Leicester from spending 4 years abroad in Japan. And for me, whilst I was living there, I always had this constant idea of going back home. But this imagery of home, for me, wasn't Somalia, but in actual fact, Britain. Because that, for me, Britain, or the UK, or Leicester specifically, was where I built my roots, is where I grew up, and it's what I knew, in essence.
So you've never had that feeling of Somalia is your home. For you, it's always been Britain.
Yeah, no, like for me, personally, Somalia has always been this dream, this fantastical imagery that my parents painted for me of a place that they grew up. That when my grandmother used to be alive, bless her soul, like she used to tell us stories of Somalia, and that's in essence all I had was imagery. And you sort of translate that to what is actually realistically happening in the country, and the divisions and the constant conflicts, be they for political struggles or cultural dominance and so on. There was a sort of split between the two, I would say. This imagery that my family, in essence, painted, and the reality on the ground. And there was no way I could ever relate to that. And there was nothing tying me to those pictures or imagery that they painted for me. And yeah, for me, that's how it's always been. Somalia was just, that's my parents' place.
So you're saying that the reason why you don't feel that way is because of that country isn't, from what you said, what I've picked up is that you feel that country isn't stable enough for you to...
Not even that. It's more of the dissonance of this picture that's been painted for me in childhood, in essence, through their stories and what they've grew up in and how they lived in that land and what I see in reality. So even if there is peace, and I pray for that a lot, because as a people we've struggled through a lot, and once Somalia does reach peace and some semblance of stability, I still believe that Britain and the life I spent here will be my home.
Okay. So that picture that your parents painted for you, that was once Somalia how it was. That was how Mogadishu was. Yeah. And you know how parents, I'm not sure your parents told this, but or people that you've seen or elders tell you that our generation, the generation who have studied in a first world country, may be the change, or may be able to bring the change that country needs, so it goes back to its glory.
But no, I disagree with that, because it goes back to something you said, that even though you went back there with good intentions, like you yourself, for what reason did you go back? Because you wanted to give back, in essence, right?
No, for me it was more of check out what people are talking about there, because people were telling me, oh, that's I went specifically I went to Jijiga, which is a region somewhere in Somalia, Ethiopia, somewhere down there, and people telling me, oh, it's a great place to go to. There's a lot of culture going on. The country's becoming prosperous. The cities are popping. There's a lot of things going on there. So I went down there to check it out, and a lot of it was true, but it wasn't something I could relate to because I'm more used to the things I did in the UK. And after 3 months, I got really bored of it because we're doing the same thing every single day.
And it's that really, I think, sells it for me in terms of this younger generation. Yes, our parents, a lot of them brought us here, be it from Europe or straight from Somalia, to have an education, to make something of our lives. And once that happens, I feel more and more we get detached from the idea of Somalia.
Okay.
And that feeling is more that even if we do go back, there's very little we can do because we're not dyed in the culture of the land. We're not aware of its customs. We have more of an archaic, somewhat fantastical dream of Somalia that we might want to impose if we do go there, rather than what the people of Somalia who stayed there, who lived there, who grew up there, they have a better stake of building the country up than I'll say the wider diaspora.
I disagree with that because there's a lot of diaspora that actually went down there, Somalia, who have actually started companies, because a lot of them believe that the fact that that's their country and their country needs amongst them. A lot of them are being hired by the government, are being funded by the government of Somalia to actually start businesses. Some of them actually work really hard here. They invest, they raise money, they go there, they start hotels. For example, in Nigeria, for example, there's a whole theme of there's a lot of hotels. They come there, they go to Somalia or wherever there's Mogadishu, or specifically I'm speaking about Nigeria, and they actually start hotels, businesses, restaurants. Some of them bring things that are used here in a country and go there. For example, there's construction businesses, that sort of thing. So, what do you think of that?
So you think? So listening to you is that they are in need of our expertise in essence. So what we've learned, be it in the Western world,
in the first world country, bring that to a third world country.
And see, that sort of savior complex really doesn't jive with me, because then that's the same argument that's been used to sort of push out, in essence, out of Africa, the Caucasians or Westerners who, in essence, came to Africa to help and give aid, because they said, oh, we have a better idea of how you can prosper, let us help you. Now, that is a very contentious point, isn't it? You have Westerners coming into Africa saying that. That's the same thing you're saying then. You're saying Somalians who... Somalis...
That's a perception.
Yes, Somalis who grew up in first world countries, mostly in Europe, who have never seen Somalia, can come over and say, we know what we can do to help, in essence.
Yeah, a lot of them go there, they do a lot of research there. For example, in order for you to
give me an example.
For example, I don't know actually what it's called, but you know how there's the whole system in let's say in Leicester, for example, where
in Leicester.
Yeah, for example, in Leicester, there's a system where there's like a garbage system where there's trucks that come to your house, and they collect the garbage from the bins outside the house.
Yeah.
There was someone who actually lived in Leicester who actually went there and brought that system there, which is really needed, and he killed two birds with one stone. He helped his country, the city, to get rid of a problem that they had with a lot of garbage, and also he became really very successful. So it's not just about the savior mentality. It's about how can I make money? How can I fulfill the goals I want to make? For example, a lot of people that weren't successful here, they went to Somalia and they became very successful by the businesses they started.
And in turn, those businesses helped the
community,
the community,
and
the wider Somali population.
Yeah, and there's the whole thing of they become more respected. They get a position a high position in that country, and they become famous in that country because of what they've done.
Okay.
And I've spoken to a lot of people from Pakistan and who've said the same thing, that they learned something and they went there and they brought that there and became successful, and also they also helped their country, because a lot of people believe that as human beings we have responsibility. If you have the skills, the finances, the expertise to help your community, to help your country of origin, the country that your parents came from,
Yeah.
you should do it.
I mean, this is a point we spoke about privately as well, but just to let our listeners know, is that you mentioned to me that you also wanted to go to Somalia and also to take, as a skilled professional as you are,
Yeah.
to take your skills and, in essence, contribute to this imagery that you have of helping the community in Somalia and making it prosper. But you yourself have gone there and come back. What made you change your mind? Why didn't you stay?
No,
If you're saying like going home and giving back is what we should do.
So when I went there because I was 21 then. So when I went there, my initial reasoning wasn't for me to see what's out there. It was to see. It wasn't about starting a career or helping people. It's more of I'd never been to Somalia, all right, and obviously I'm Somali, right? So it makes sense for me to go back there and check it out. But after I came back and I finished university and I studied and I graduated from university, for me it was more of when I spoke to family, parents, that sort of thing, told me that the skills that I have, I can go there and work for an organisation there and help my community with the problem country with the problem they have. All right, not help, but obviously be part of the help, and also make good money from it. So, but the reason why I didn't go back there was because of responsibility. I was working at the time, and people find obstacles. And there's one thing that a lot of people try to say they avoid this country or don't want to stay here for too long, is because when you're in this country you have a lot of responsibility. For example, when I went to Yemen, for example, I was there for like 2 years. I've noticed that the people that live there, they don't, even though a lot of them do work and stuff like that, they don't have, work isn't the entire life. In this country, work is life, all right? People...
Sorry, what do you mean by that? This work is life here, but not over there. What do you mean by that, if you could elaborate?
Because one thing that I've learned about in this country is that the culture is all about working. Everyone's goal is to get a job, all right, move out from their from their homes. But I know a lot of people do stay home with their families for a long time, save up money, then get properties and mortgages, and I've seen that from a lot of the Asian community. But generally, what I've seen is people would work, and their goal is finish university, go to work, get your own place, study. Pay bills and get money so you can live. So in order for you to live, you need money. In order for you to go to restaurants and that sort of thing. But in Yemen and what I saw in Somalia is, if you need money, you've got a family, mate. You've got a family that helps you out. If someone sleeps on the street, he can rely on families or even wider relatives, tribes, and that sort of thing to rely on. So for them, it's all about, you know what, I'm going to stay here and not work because I've got a family can help me out. If I want to stay in a place, I've got a family to stay with, that sort of thing. And for that sort of thing, that mentality is quite stigmatized in the UK, because it's all about, if you have the ability to study and work, you should study and work. But for that, they're like, work is just part of life, mate. And I don't want to, if I want to do it, I'll do it. If I don't want to do it, I don't do it. You know what I mean? I've got other priorities, whether it's culture, religion, and that sort of thing.
That's a very interesting insight. I mean, I would wholeheartedly disagree.
Yeah, go ahead. It's a free country.
Because this is this idea that you're reducing a whole population of people as being somewhat lazy, in essence, is what you're saying then.
No, it's not lazy.
That work is in essence on the side.
I didn't say lazy. I said...
I feel this is something
that's a perception.
Go on.
That's a perception.
Why is that a perception?
So, only because someone that doesn't work doesn't mean they're lazy. It just means that they don't value what work, or the whole concept of work. For them, relaxing could be their passion. And if that's their passion, only because they're not doing what people may think they should be doing, does not make them lazy. Does that make sense? Sorry, go proceed.
Oh, okay, that's okay, I guess. But you're saying then, in essence, when we're talking about going home mentality, is for a large section of our community in the UK, they build this career, this education, they invest so much in all of this to just then go home, back home, in this case to Somalia, in our case, just to what? Have leisure? Be free, in essence, be lazy.
So
this is the imagery you're painting for me, is that our parents, in essence, struggled in sort of a lot in order to get to get beyond the conflicts that were ravaging Somalia, or the economic difficulties that they had, to come into Europe and to give us opportunities and have us have the chance of opportunity to better ourselves, be it through excellent education, a wide array of business employment opportunities, and so on. But then you're saying, after they sacrificed so much to give us so much, we then want to go back to this. Again, I go back to what I said earlier, with this fantastical dream, just to relax. It sounds a bit too far-fetched for me, and I don't know what you take on that.
It's not just being relaxed. Is, for example, people tend to work for money so they can enjoy their lives. No one likes to work. But they have to work, because without working, you can't live the way you want to live. In those countries, they believe that if they've been educated here and they go back to Somalia, they'll have the skills, the value to start something that will allow them to make good money without having to work all day. So they can build homes, invest in lands, so they can start because of finance or invest in things that will give them residual income, so they can enjoy.
Sorry, what's stopping us doing that here?
That's a good question. I've had a conversation with a lot of people and say, you can do that here, because I'm on the opinion that Somalia isn't the only place, or where the country of your roots, you can prosper that. I believe that you can do that here. But from people I spoke to, they feel that the fact that they feel that they're not valued here as they would be valued in the country of origin, they feel that they'll have the opportunity or better chance in getting to the financial freedom that they want in those countries than here. What do you think?
So you're sort of talking about this idea of values then. So there's a difference of values. And that the values in that country, in this case Somalia, would better fit their character than the values here in Britain. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's perception. So what they're saying there, because I'm Somali, or let's say I'm Pakistani, if I go to that country of my origin, the fact that I'm from those people and I've actually been educated from a first world country, I've got a better education than them, I've skills.
See, it's that thing again, better education than them. You're saying in essence that going back there just to show you're better than them, and you're going to help improve the country because in lieu of them.
Yeah, because those countries, even though they're not Britain, they value British education. For example, if you go to the Middle East, if you go to Dubai, Qatar, Oman, but
this is the thing I'm saying, it's that the values are completely different. Even yourself, you've said it yourself, you went there. Even in those 3 months, the difference in culture, even though you are of the same people, the difference in values, the difference in ideas, in essence, was so far removed from one another that you couldn't feel like you could stay there long term, in essence.
But there was one thing I didn't mention was that even though the cultures were different, they were in it's a bad term to use, by the way, in more of awe of me, because I was from a country that they wanted to go to because of what they've heard of, watched on TV, that sort of thing. So people were willing to approach me, give me opportunities, because I was from a culture, a country that they want to be from, that sort of thing.
And this all ties into this mentality of going home. Is that what all of this boils down to?
From some people that I've spoken to, yes, but not everyone. Some people will go for different reasons.
Oh, go on. What are these different reasons? Because so far we've been talking about connection, in essence, of connecting back to your roots, in essence. What other reasons could someone want to go back home?
Family. So, for example, and this is more of people that are from the older generation. They still have family there that they want to see, like mothers, sisters, siblings, that sort of thing. For them, it's all about going there, seeing them, because they haven't seen them for years. Some of them may go there because of religion, so they feel like this country doesn't, this country doesn't have the values that they want or they want to live by. So by going back to a country that a lot of people are from their religion, they'll go there and they'll feel more content down there.
See, I take offense on that again, or take issue, not offense, but issue
offense.
with this. My apologies.
What's trying to offend you?
Wrong use of
apologies for the offense.
wrong.
Wasn't my intention.
No worry. Wrong use of word there. I take issue with what you're saying there because we've been here long enough in Britain that we've built those institutions. The institution of family, the institution of religion. You just need to look outside of our studio to see how well we've integrated and how well we've made Britain our home. That's why I take issue with your statements that the idea of going home is because our traditions, be it our institutions of family and of religion, are only over there. Like only over there rather than here in Britain. We've been in this country, be it Somalians in this case, for nearly 30 years. And for some even longer. Why are you disregarding the fact that we have institutions of family and of religion here? Well, can you answer that one for me?
I'm not disregarding it. I have that same opinion of you, but I'm talking about the people that I spoke to who have that position, and they say that they feel more closer down there than here, even though, as you mentioned, a lot of institutions are here. For example, my family came from, and a lot of Somalis came from Scandinavia and from Europe to come to UK because of the Islam and culture and religion that this country has. The country is quite liberal, and they wanted that. They felt safe here, and that's why they migrated here or travelled from Scandinavia to those countries, to the UK. But I was speaking specifically about the older generation who could relate more back to Somalia or say Pakistan or Uganda or Malawi, and they feel it's not just a religion, it's probably walking on the beach or swimming and that sort of thing. And
the sense of nostalgia is what you're saying.
Nostalgia, they feel that way. I'm not assuming people that are raised here have that same inclinations, but
yeah, that's the thing I want to press on you, and it's for you personally. You're not that old. I wouldn't call you an elder, but as you and I, we're relatively the same age. We're in our mid-20s.
Late 20s.
Mid-20s.
Late 20s, right? Late 20s.
I'm going to say mid-20s and just hope everyone agrees with me. Don't want to talk about the late 20s yet. That's more like 29, 30.
Okay.
30 is like already 30, so it's not
fair
even
enough,
20 yet.
fair enough,
So it's a little small tangent. But no, so where was I? So it's like this idea of going back home, these traditions of family and religion. That's more specifically in the elder population, in our like elder community.
Yeah.
But not so much in the youth. And a lot of us, younger generation, like yourself, you were brought up, like you said, in Europe and then came to the UK for better opportunities in education. Then why do you still feel attached to this notion of Somalia.
I don't feel attached to it.
Or
I have the same opinion as you. But I'm talking about
but other
a
people.
different
Why?
perspective.
And then more generally, why do a lot of youths in our age bracket, have this sentiment?
I'm assuming it's because, as I said before, it's because they were influenced by their parents. The parents told them that that's a better place for them. They should be going down there. They should be investing there. A lot of them, for example, one example that I've noticed from the youth is that they actually buy land in Somalia. I'm not sure if they do that same thing in Pakistan and India or Uganda or Malawi, but
we can have a guest one day.
Yeah,
can answer
hopefully.
that.
Yeah, hopefully. They do that because they feel there's more opportunities, less tax, that sort of thing, and basically. But when it comes to religion, that's going back home for religion. That's mostly with the elders. I'm not talking about mothers. I'm talking about the fathers. The uncles I've spoken to who have told me that I suggested to a lot of them that you raised us, right? You migrated from Somalia and you had the strength to get married and start families. And you raised us, you taught us, you went to school and that sort of thing. And it's time for you now to work on yourselves and educate yourselves and that sort of thing. And maybe with the one or two Somali mothers I spoke to, they were like, you know what, that's interesting. Where do we sign up? Where do we go? How do we start? But with the men I've spoken to, they've told me that for us, it's all about, the religion. Let me focus on my religion now. And it sounds like, even though they've got right intentions, from what I felt was that they were preparing themselves for death, basically.
Yeah.
Let me prepare myself.
Be buried in the homeland.
A homeland, yeah. Let me prepare for hereafter, which isn't a bad thing. That's something that a lot of people want to inspire you to. But you can do that and educate yourself too, and you don't have to go to university and that sort of thing to do that. You can maybe maybe work in an institution where you just let's say you're passionate about engineering, you might want to go to university, that sort of thing. But if you're passionate about art and music and poetry, Somali poetry, that sort of thing, you can cultivate that by working with people within the country that are interested in that sort of thing. And I know I'm part of an organisation called Sakoba that are quite interested in doing that sort of thing. Starting
organisation?
An organisation called Sakoba, which is like a Somali organisation in St Matthews, and they are working on actually starting let's say a project where they educate and give Somali parents a place where they can educate themselves and maybe learn English. A lot of them do speak English, but learn it formally. Teach them IT skills, so then they can basically use IT systems and that sort of thing. And so they got a foot in the country.
That's very interesting. I mean, as we sort of like wind down now, it's like we can ask ourselves what are our personal opinions of this idea of going back home. I mean, we touched upon it a bit throughout the radio. Yeah. So
I believe it's sad reality.
So what do you think? Yeah.
I believe it's sad reality. I believe I do get why people want to go there, and if you are going there for business and work, you know what, go for it. I know a lot of people that have worked hard and went there and became extremely successful there. But I believe you can do that here too. This country gives you all these opportunities you can do, and this is our home now. We work here, we study here. A lot of us are married here, we have kids here. So you know what, just feel like, even though a lot of us from a wider sense, we do seem like we've integrated, but mentally have we done that too? If you feel that this isn't your home, and if you find it hard calling yourself British, and you say I'm a Somali and that sort of thing, you can't say British, then it's you really need to think about that.
So
because
we need to reevaluate.
Because if you wanna raise kids here, you need to be instilling in them the values and the beauty of this country, I believe. What about you, Subane?
I think I am of the same opinion, really, that we've gone through so much to establish roots here, and for a lot of my age group, in essence, our age group. This is all we've ever known, in essence. And to be encouraged sometimes by the elders in our communities, or even our own parents sometimes, not personally, but in general, that we should work or learn with the goal of returning to Somalia in mind, is somewhat disingenuous sometimes, I think. And for me, I don't think that will be ever something I'll question. Now, in terms of values, traditions, and in a historical value, maybe in later years, once I have a family and start to, educate my children on our background, in essence, from a historical standpoint, yeah, maybe I'll go there to teach them that this is where their forefathers came from. However, I don't see any intention on my part to ever make my life in Somalia, if that's a way to put it. For me, as I mentioned throughout, is that it is a fantastical dream.
I think you told me once that you wanted to live in the countryside in England somewhere.
Yeah, I have this other fantastical dream of countryside living in somewhere in the home counties. I don't know, but
interesting.
But it's idealism. Everyone has these visions of this ideal life that they want to live, be it for me here in Britain, or for our elders and for some of our youths in this country in Somalia, or for anyone else in the ethnic community within Leicester in their countries of origin. And I think kudos to them, but I think it's a loss, and it's a sad loss sometimes. Yeah,
I agree, but I want to bring in people that are going to have difference of opinion, and they're going to really challenge us on that.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So if anyone's listening out there, today we just gave you a rundown of our views and
my views.
Yeah. So if anyone really disagrees with us or really agrees with us, or somewhere in between, we would really welcome.
Yeah, and definitely next week you guys can definitely call in, and I hope you guys challenge us on this and say, you know what, you guys are
dead wrong.
Dead wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for listening to Let's Talk with Zak and Subane, and hopefully see you next week.
And definitely call in, and we can have riveting conversations.
Please call in. Please call in.
Thank you again for joining today, and have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.